I set my parents' house key on their kitchen counter and walked out for the last time. Not dramatically, not with tears. I just left. My mother called after me, something about being selfish, but I was already in my car. 15 years. That's how long I'd been raising children that weren't mine, while my sister-in-law Emma got to find herself. 15 years of my own life, gone. And I was done. Let me start from the beginning. My name is Rachel Chen, and I made a choice when I was 19 that I thought was temporary. That's the thing about temporary decisions. They have a way of becoming permanent when everyone around you benefits from them staying that way. I was a sophomore at a community college working part-time at a bookstore, living in my parents' basement because rent in Seattle was already ridiculous, even back in 2009. My brother, David, was 27, married to Emma for 3 years, and they had 2 kids, Lily, who was 4, and Mason, who was 2. Emma had what my mother called a difficult time after Mason was born. Postpartum depression, the doctor said. She needed help. She needed space. She needed time to heal. Just for a few months, my mother told me, standing in my basement bedroom doorway, Emma needs to go stay with her sister in Portland. Get some treatment. Your brother is working 60 hours a week at the firm. The kids need someone. What about daycare? I asked. They can't afford it right now. Rachel, honey, you're taking online classes anyway. You could watch them during the day, maybe move into their spare room. Just temporarily. I should have said no. I can look back now and see exactly where my life split into 2 paths. And I chose the wrong one out of kindness. I moved into David and Emma's 3-bedroom rental in Beacon Hill. I took morning classes and watched Lily and Mason in the afternoons and evenings. David worked late, came home exhausted, barely spoke to me. I made dinner. I did bedtime. I became the only mother those kids knew day to day. Just another few months, my mother said at the 6-month mark. Emma's doing better, but she's not ready yet. At 1 year, Emma sent postcards. She was in California now, at a wellness retreat. She'd found a community that understood her. She was healing. At 2 years, my mother sat me down with that look on her face, the one that means she's about to ask for something unreasonable and frame it as the moral thing to do. Emma wants a divorce, she said. She's not coming back to the kids. I was 21. I'd dropped out of college because online classes and full-time childcare weren't compatible, despite what everyone had promised. I had no degree, no career, no life outside of raising my niece and nephew. So, what happens now? I asked. David needs you. The children need you. Emma's signing over custody. We'll all help, of course, but you're so good with them, Rachel. They love you. They did love me. That was the problem. Lily called me Rachel Mama by then, unable to remember her actual mother. Mason had never known anyone else. I'll get back to school, I told myself, once they're both in elementary school. I turned 22, then 23. David got a promotion. He started dating again. My parents praised me constantly. Such a good aunt, so selfless, such a natural mother. What they didn't do was pay me, or give me time off, or acknowledge that I'd given up my entire adult life. I lived in David's house, rent-free, they said, as if that was payment for raising 2 children alone while their father worked and dated and lived his life. When I was 25, I asked David about getting my own place. What about the kids? He said, not looking up from his phone. You're their father. Rachel, come on. They need stability. You're all they know. Besides, you live here for free. You've got it pretty good. Pretty good. I was 25, no degree, no work history except childcare provider, unpaid, on a resume nobody would ever see. I had $4,000 in my savings account and 2 children calling me Mama who would be devastated if I left. So, I stayed. David married again when I was 27. Kelly was nice enough, a paralegal at his firm. I thought maybe she'd take over with the kids, let me finally have my own life. At their wedding, Kelly pulled me aside. I just want you to know how much I appreciate everything you do for Lily and Mason. David's told me how amazing you are with them. I'm not really a kid person, so it's such a relief that they have you. Not a kid person. She'd married a man with 2 children and made it clear she wouldn't be raising them. I smiled and congratulated her and went home and cried in the bathroom while Lily and Mason slept in their beds, unaware that I was drowning. Before we continue, I should tell you about the moment I finally understood what had been done to me. It came on my 30th birthday. My mother threw me a small party at her house. David and Kelly came with the kids. My father was there. My Aunt Susan drove up from Tacoma. I opened presents. A sweater, some bath products, a gift card to Target. Then, my mother brought out a cake with 30 candles, and everyone sang. "Make a wish," Lily said, 13 years old now, and beautiful, and looking at me with so much love. I wished I could have my life back. After cake, I was cleaning up in the kitchen when I overheard my mother and Aunt Susan talking in the dining room. "Emma's getting married again," my mother said. "Some tech guy in San Francisco. Very successful." "Good for her," Aunt Susan said. "She's really turned her life around." "She has. She went back to school, got her degree, works in marketing now. She's doing so well." There was a pause. Then Aunt Susan asked, "Does she see the kids?" "Oh, no, she sends birthday cards sometimes. But Rachel's their mother now." It all worked out for the best. It all worked out for the best. Emma got to leave, got to start over, got to go to school, build a career, fall in love, have a whole entire life. And I got to raise the children she abandoned while everyone praised her for turning her life around and praised me for being so selfless. I stood in that kitchen holding a dish rag, and something inside me just stopped. Not broke, stopped. I drove home to David's house, where I'd lived for 11 years, and looked around at my life. The kids' artwork on the fridge, the grocery list I'd made, the calendar with all their activities that I coordinated, soccer practice, piano lessons, dental appointments, parent-teacher conferences. I'd been their mother in every way except legally, and I'd never chosen it. Mason found me sitting on my bed, staring at the wall. He was 13, all gangly limbs and breaking voice. "You okay, Rachel, Mama?" "I'm fine, buddy." "You don't look fine." I looked at this kid I'd raised since he was 2, this kid I loved more than anything, this kid who wasn't mine and never would be. "Mason, do you ever wonder about your mum? Your birth mum?" He shrugged. "Not really. I mean, you're my mum." "I'm your aunt." "Yeah, but you're the one who raised me. That makes you my mom." He sat down next to me. "Did something happen?" "No, I'm just thinking about some things." "Like what?" "Like what I want my life to look like." He was quiet for a minute. Then he said, "Are you going to leave?" The fear in his voice almost broke me. "No, I'm not going anywhere." But I was lying. To him and to myself. I started making plans that night. Quiet plans, strategic plans. First, I called the community college. My credits were still good. I could finish my degree. I'd been 9 credits away from an associate's when I'd stopped. I enrolled in 3 online classes for the full semester. Second, I started documenting everything. Every meal I cooked, every activity I coordinated, every school form I filled out. I kept receipts. I noted hours. I built a case, though I didn't know yet what I was building it for. Third, I started looking at apartments. Nothing big, nothing fancy, just mine. David noticed something was different at dinner one night in August. "You're taking classes?" he said, reading the confirmation email I'd left open on my laptop. "Finishing my degree." "That's great, Rach, really great. What's your plan for when classes conflict with the kids' schedules?" "They won't. They're online. Asynchronous." "But what about—" "I'll handle it, David." Kelly looked between us, sensing tension. "This is good, right? Rachel going back to school." "Of course it's good," David said, but his voice had an edge. "I'm just thinking practically about the kids." "The kids will be fine," I said. "They're 13 and 15. They don't need constant supervision anymore. They need you." There it was, the thing I'd been hearing for 11 years. They need you, as if my needs didn't matter, as if I was just a resource to be used. "They need their father," I said quietly, "and they have him." The next morning, my mother called. David had talked to her, of course. "Rachel, honey, your brother says you're making some changes." I'm finishing my degree. That's wonderful. But he's concerned about how this will affect the children. Mum, they're teenagers now. They don't need me the same way they did. But you've been their stability for so long. Don't you think you should discuss major life changes with David first? Why would I discuss my education with David? Well, because it affects his family. His family, not our family. Sis. I'm taking 3 classes, Mum. Nothing's changing. He says you're looking at apartments. So he'd been snooping through my computer. Perfect. I'm 30 years old. I think it's time I had my own place. The silence on the other end was heavy. Then, Rachel, those children have lost one mother already. Don't you think leaving would be cruel? And there it was. The thing they'd used to trap me for over a decade. The guilt, the emotional manipulation. The suggestion that my own life, my own needs, my own future were somehow cruel to consider. I'm not their mother, I said. I'm their aunt who's been doing their father's job for him. That's not fair. Isn't it? Mum, when was the last time David took them to a doctor's appointment? When was the last time he went to a parent-teacher conference? When was the last time he stayed home with them when they were sick? He works very hard to provide for them. So do other single parents. They still raise their own kids. Rachel Marie Chen, I did not raise you to be selfish. No, I said. You raised me to be convenient. I hung up. That should have been my first red flag. Not about them, but about myself. I should have left right then. But I didn't. I still thought I could do this gradually, gently, without destroying everything. I was wrong. The classes started in September. I threw myself into them. Introduction to business, English composition, college algebra. Easy stuff for most people, but I'd been out of school for 11 years. I studied while the kids did homework. I wrote papers after they went to bed. I took exams on Saturday mornings. And I kept documenting. Every hour I spent on childcare, I logged. Every dollar David didn't contribute to household expenses, I tracked. I was building something, though I still wasn't sure what. In October, I found an apartment, a studio in Northgate, $1,100 a month. Tiny. A bit run down. But mine. I put down a deposit. I didn't tell anyone. The plan was to move out in January after the semester ended. Give David the holidays with the kids, then start my new life in the new year. Clean break. Everyone would adjust. Oh, then Lily got into an argument with Kelly in November. I wasn't there for it. I was at the library, studying for my algebra final. But I got the calls. 5 from Lily, 3 from Mason, 1 from David. By the time I got home, Kelly had locked herself in the bedroom and Lily was crying in her room. What happened? I asked Mason. Lily asked Kelly if she could come to her school play. Kelly said she had plans. Lily said she never comes to anything. Kelly said she's not Lily's mother and doesn't have to. Then Lily said some stuff about how Kelly doesn't even try. And Kelly said she never signed up to be a mom to someone else's kids. And it just exploded. I found Lily face down on her bed, sobbing. Hey, I said softly, sitting next to her. Talk to me. She hates us, Lily said. Kelly hates us. She doesn't hate you. She doesn't want us. Nobody wants us. Our real mum didn't want us. Kelly doesn't want us. Dad barely notices us. Lily, stop. I want you. I've always wanted you. She sat up, face blotchy and red. Then why are you leaving? My stomach dropped. What? I heard Dad talking to Grandma. You're taking classes so you can get a job and move out. You're leaving us too. I pulled her into a hug while she cried. Mason appeared in the doorway, looking small despite being almost my height now. Is it true? He asked. I couldn't lie to them anymore. I'm getting my own apartment. But I'm not leaving you. I'll still see you all the time. It's not the same, Lily said. You've always been here. Every day. Every morning. Every night. Oh, you're the only person who's always been here. Your dad is here. Dad's here physically, Mason said quietly. But you're the one who actually sees us. You know our friends' names. You know what we're worried about. You know us. He was 15. When had he gotten so perceptive? I love you both so much, I said. That won't change. but I need to have my own life too. We know, Lily said, wiping her eyes. We're not kids anymore, we get it, but it still sucks. Yeah, I said. It does. David knocked on the doorframe. Can I talk to Rachel alone? The kids left. David closed the door. You told them you're leaving. They asked. I'm not going to lie. Do you see what you're doing to them? They're falling apart, Rachel. They're falling apart because their stepmother just told them she never wanted to be their parent, and you, their actual father, are never around. That's not fair. I work to support this family. You work to avoid this family. Be honest, David. When's the last time you had a real conversation with either of them? He had no answer. This is on you, I continued. You're their father. You chose to have children. Emma didn't want to raise them, and you decided that meant I had to. But I was 19, David. I didn't choose this. I was helping temporarily, and you turned it into my entire life. You could have left any time. Could I? Every time I mentioned moving out, Mom guilted me about abandoning the kids. Every time I tried to make plans for my own future, you reminded me how much they need me. You've all spent 11 years making sure I felt too guilty to have my own life. That's not. We appreciate everything you've done. Appreciation doesn't pay rent. Appreciation doesn't give me back my 20s. Appreciation doesn't give me a career or a relationship or any of the experiences I missed because I was raising your children. So, what do you want? Money? The fact that he said it like an insult told me everything I needed to know. I want you to be a father to your own children, I said. And I want my life back. I finished the semester, straight A's. I moved into my apartment on January 2nd. The kids helped me pack. They cried. I cried. But I went. My mother called it cruel. My father said he was disappointed in me. David told anyone who would listen that I'd abandoned his children. None of them acknowledged that I'd raised those children for 11 years while Emma got to start over. And now I was finally starting over at 30. The first month was hard. Lily called me crying almost every night. Mason texted constantly. David called in a panic because he didn't know Lily needed glasses or that Mason was failing algebra. I helped. Of course I helped. I still loved them. But I wasn't their mother anymore. I was their aunt with boundaries. Dad needs to take you to get your eyes checked, I told Lily. Can't you just come with us? Your dad can handle it. But you always... I know. But I don't live there anymore, honey. Your dad needs to step up. David was furious. You're really going to make me figure all this out alone? You're not alone. You have Kelly. Kelly doesn't know anything about the kids. Then maybe she should learn. She married you knowing you had children. This is ridiculous. You're being vindictive. I'm being an aunt, a normal aunt, the kind who sees her niece and nephew regularly but doesn't raise them. That's what I should have been all along. I got a job at a tech startup in February. Admin work, nothing glamorous, but it was mine. I enrolled in classes to award my bachelor's degree. I went on dates, bad dates mostly, but still. I was living. In March, I met someone, James, a software developer. Kind, funny. He knew my whole story, and instead of running, he said, that must have been so hard. Not how selfless, not what a good person you are. Just acknowledgement that I'd lost something. We took it slow. He met the kids in May as my boyfriend, not as another parent figure. They liked him well enough. Emma sent a birthday card to Lily that month. Lily threw it away without opening it. I looked her up on Facebook. Lily told me one Saturday when we got coffee. She has a whole new family. 2 little kids with her new husband. She's like a room mom at their school. She does all this stuff with them. How does that make you feel? Like she could have been that for us, but she chose not to. Like there was something wrong with us that made her want to start over instead. There was nothing wrong with you. She couldn't handle being a mother at that point in her life, so she left. It wasn't about you. Then why does it feel like it was? I didn't have a good answer for that. In August, David called me on a Tuesday evening. Unusual. He mostly texted now. Short questions about the kids' schedules or medical history. Rachel, I need you to come back. Excuse me? Kelly left. She filed for divorce last week, said she can't do this anymore. She never wanted kids, and she's tired of pretending. I can't do this alone, Rachel. I need help. I laughed. I actually laughed. You want me to move back in and raise your kids again because your second wife also doesn't want to be their mother? Just temporarily? No. Rachel, please, I'm drowning here. Lily needs help with her college applications. Mason's struggling in chemistry. I don't know how to do any of this. Figure it out. I can't. You can. You're their father. Be their father. I'll pay you. What? I'll pay you. Name your price. Just come back and help me. David, do you hear yourself? You want to hire me to raise your own children. That's insane. I'm desperate, Rachel. You're good at this. They listen to you. They need you. They need you. And maybe if you'd actually been present for the last 16 years, you'd know how to be their father. But you chose to work late and date and let me do everything. This is the consequence. So you're just going to let them suffer because you're angry at me? I'm not letting them suffer. I see them twice a week. I text with them daily. I'm in their lives. As their aunt, you're their father. Act like it. He hung up on me. My mother called an hour later. Rachel, your brother needs help. Those children need stability. Then David should provide it. He's struggling. Kelly left. He's all alone with 2 teenagers. I was all alone with a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old when I was 19. He's 43 with a 6-figure salary. He'll survive. When did you become so cold? When I realised that caring too much cost me everything. She didn't call back. In September, Emma called me. I hadn't spoken to her in 16 years. Rachel? It's Emma. I know who it is. I heard about David and Kelly. I wanted to check on the kids. You want to check on them? You abandoned them 16 years ago. I was sick. I had postpartum depression. For 16 years, you got better, Emma. You went to school, you built a career, you got married again, you had more kids. You could have come back at any point, but you chose not to. It's more complicated than that. It's really not. You didn't want them, so you left. And everyone praised you for healing and starting over while I gave up my entire life to raise your children. But, sure, let's talk about how complicated it was for you. I heard you left too. I moved into my own apartment after 11 years of free labour. That's not the same as abandoning your children. David said you refused to help him. I refused to raise his children for him a second time. That's different. There was a long pause. Then, I'm sorry, for what it's worth. I know I left you in an impossible situation. You left your children in an impossible situation. I was collateral damage. I send child support. I have been for years. That stopped me. What? I send David $1,500 a month. I have been since the divorce was finalised. Did he not tell you? He hadn't. All those years of we can't afford daycare and money is tight, and David had been collecting $1,500 a month from Emma. No, I said. He didn't mention that. I'm sorry, Rachel, for all of it. You deserved better. She hung up. I sat there, phone in hand, doing math in my head. $1,500 a month for 16 years. That's $288,000. $288,000 that David had collected while I raised his children for free. I called my Aunt Susan. Not my parents, not David. Susan, who'd always been straight with me. Did you know Emma was paying child support? Of course. Your mother mentioned it years ago. Why? David told me they couldn't afford daycare. He said money was tight. He let me raise his kids for free while collecting almost $300,000 from Emma. Susan was quiet for a moment. Then, Rachel, honey, I love your brother, but he's always been good at using people. Your mother enables it because he's the golden child. I'm sorry you got caught in that. I started digging. Bank records from the years I'd lived there. David had put me on the account for emergencies, but I'd never really looked at it. There it was. Emma Chen Morrison, $1,500 every single month for 16 years. I took screenshots. I saved everything. Then I called a lawyer. "What are you hoping to accomplish?" she asked after I explained the situation. "I don't know. Can I sue him for unpaid childcare?" "Probably not successfully. You're a family, living rent-free. But we could make his life uncomfortable, especially if you're willing to tell this story publicly." I thought about it, dragging my family through legal action, making everything ugly. Then I thought about 16 years of my life, my entire 20s, gone, opportunities missed, experiences lost, all so David could collect $300,000 while I worked for free. "Let's make his life uncomfortable," I said. The lawyer sent a letter. Not a lawsuit, just a detailed accounting of my childcare hours over 11 years, multiplied by the going rate for nannies in Seattle. It came to $847,000. We didn't actually expect him to pay it. The letter was strategic. It outlined everything: the hours, the money Emma had sent, David's misrepresentation of his financial situation, his repeated requests for me to continue providing free labour. And it included a warning. Pay Rachel a reasonable settlement for her services, or she'll be sharing this story publicly. David called, screaming. "You're blackmailing me! I'm asking for compensation for 16 years of work. You lived rent-free, and you collected $288,000 in child support while I raised your kids. We can go public with this, David. Let people know how you used your teenage sister for free labour while cashing checks. I bet your firm would love that story." He hung up. 3 days later, his lawyer called my lawyer. They offered $50,000. We countered with $200,000. They settled at $125,000. I didn't care about the money, not really. I cared about him acknowledging what he'd done. I cared about him facing consequences for once in his life. The check cleared in November. I paid off my student loans. I put a down payment on a 1-bedroom condo in Ballard. I invested the rest. My parents didn't speak to me for months. I'd embarrassed the family, my mother said. I'd been vindictive and cruel. I didn't care anymore. Lily got into UW with a full scholarship. Mason's chemistry grades improved once David actually hired a tutor instead of assuming I'd handle it. David learned to be a father. Not a great one, maybe, but present. He had to. There was no one else to fall back on. Emma sent me a message on Facebook in December, just, "I'm glad you got out. You deserved better than what we all put you through." I didn't respond. What was there to say? James and I moved in together in January. 2 years after I'd left David's house, I was finally building the life I should have had all along. Lily came over for dinner one night in February. She was 17 now, getting ready to graduate. "Can I ask you something?" she said while we were doing dishes. "Always. Do you regret it? Raising us?" I dried a plate carefully, thinking about my answer. I don't regret loving you. I don't regret the time we spent together. But I regret that it cost me so much of my life. I regret that people saw me as free labour instead of a person with dreams. Does that make sense? "Yeah," she said quietly. "I'm sorry for being part of what trapped you." "Lily, you were 4 years old. You didn't trap me. Your father did. Emma did. My parents did. You and Mason were just kids who needed someone. We still need you. I know, and I'm still here, just differently now." "Better, differently?" I thought about my condo, my job, my relationship, my degree program, my life. "Yeah," I said, "better differently." Mason graduated high school that spring. At his graduation party, he pulled me aside. "Hey, so, college essay question. Can I write about you?" "Me?" "Yeah. The prompt is about someone who influenced your life. I want to write about how you raised me when nobody else would, but you also taught me that it's okay to choose yourself sometimes. That loving people doesn't mean losing yourself." I hugged him. This kid I'd raised, this young man he'd become. "Yeah," I said. "You can write about me." David approached later, alone. We'd been civil for months now, ever since the settlement. "They turned out pretty good," he said, watching the kids with their friends. They did. That's mostly because of you. It's because they're good people. They raised themselves at this point. Rachel, I'm sorry for all of it. I took advantage of you. I knew I was doing it, and I did it anyway, because it was easier than stepping up. It was the first time he'd actually apologized without making excuses. Yeah, I said. You did. If it helps, I'm trying to be better now. For them. It does help. A little. We stood there in awkward silence. Then he said, Mum wants to know if you'll come to Sunday dinner next week. Is she going to lecture me about family loyalty? Probably not. She knows she's lucky you're speaking to any of us. I'll think about it. I went. Family dinners became monthly instead of weekly. Boundaries firmly in place. Emma never contacted the kids again. Last I heard, she was living in Austin with her new family, 2 more children she actually wanted to raise. I graduated with my bachelor's degree in business administration when I was 32. Lily and Mason came to the ceremony, and James brought flowers. My parents came too, looking uncomfortable but present. We're proud of you, my father said afterward. You should have been proud of me for the last 16 years, I replied. But I'll take it. I got promoted at work. James and I got engaged. Lily thrived at UW. Mason got into Oregon State. And I finally had my life back. Not the life I would have had if I'd said no at 19. That life was gone forever. But a good life. My life. On my 33rd birthday, I had dinner with the kids at the condo. Just the 3 of us. You know what's weird? Mason said. When people ask me about my mum, I don't know what to say. What do you want to say? I asked. The truth? That our biological mum left when we were little. Our stepmum didn't want us. Oh, but our aunt loved us enough to give up everything to raise us. Then, she loved us enough to teach us that you can't lose yourself for other people, even people you love. That's a really long answer for a casual question, Lily said. Yeah, but it's true. I looked at these 2 humans I'd helped shape. They were kind. They were thoughtful. They understood nuance and complexity and how to set boundaries while still loving people. I'm proud of you both, I said. We're proud of you too, Lily said, for getting out, for choosing yourself, for showing us it's possible. That night, after they left, James found me on the balcony. You okay? He asked. Yeah, I said. I am. And I was, finally. After 16 years of being what everyone else needed me to be, I was exactly who I wanted to be. It wasn't the victory I'd imagined when I was 19 and naive. There was no dramatic confrontation, no moment of perfect justice, just slow, steady progress toward a life I chose. David sends the kids money for college and actually shows up to things now. My parents have learned not to ask me to sacrifice myself for family. Emma lives her life somewhere else with the children she chose. And me? I'm getting married next spring. I have a career I'm building. I have a home that's mine. I have a life that's mine. The kids still call me Rachel Mama sometimes, usually when they're tired or stressed. I don't correct them. I raise them. In every way that mattered, I was their mother when they needed one. But I'm not anymore, and that's okay too. I've learned you can love people without losing yourself. You can be there for family without being consumed by them. You can leave and still be loved. I set that house key on my parents' counter and walked out, and everyone said I was cruel. But I wasn't cruel. I was finally, after 16 years, free.